Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this half-hour WebEx. I'm delighted to introduce Ashok Gupta, who is a London-based expert in clinical fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, who's going to talk to us about the benefits of meditation for our health and well-being, and will also take us through a guided meditation. Myself and several members of my team have used Ashok's free guided meditations app, so we know you're going to love this. If you're on a mission to improve staff well-being in the NHS, this is a practical, evidence-based practice to use. But of course, as you know, any GPs out there will know, it's one thing to prescribe something like exercise for obesity, and it's another thing to get people to actually do it, to get motivated. I'm sure that this WebEx is going to provide you with any motivation that you need to get started to improve your own and others' well-being. So if you're listening to this WebEx as a podcast later on, just ensure that you're not driving or operating machinery, as of course it does include a live meditation. Over to Ashok.
Great, well thank you so much, Rosanna, for that introduction, and I'm delighted to be here with you all. So thank you to Rosanna, Kate Pound and all the team from Fab Change that have invited me to come and share some ideas around, well, from medication to meditation. That's our catchphrase today. So I think I would like to begin by just telling you a bit about myself. So many years ago, I suffered from ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, and many of you may have come across this condition in your kind of daily rounds or your interaction with patients. And for me, these conditions are an example of extreme stress in the mind and body. And I remember, you know, in one of my darkest days when I had the condition, I literally was so full of anxiety and paralysis and could hardly even move. I had to crawl to the bathroom, and I thought, you know, this is no way to live. Is this just the way I am? Is anxiety just something that's inherent within my system? And from that day onwards, I made it my quest to really understand stress, anxiety, the mind, depression. And if I could help myself out of it many years ago, then I'd be able to help others. And that really, you know, started that process for me. And so I've been researching all of these different conditions for 10 to 15 years now, and have published some medical papers on them. And that has also, it's been a personal journey in terms of how I can calm my mind down and reduce my stress and calm down anxiety, but at the same time, setting up a clinic to help others with these various conditions as well. Now, what's really interesting is the word stress is used all the time, and I hear it all the time in my interactions. But very few people really, if you really ask them, well, what is stress? They describe it as a feeling in the body. But if we really analyze what really causes stress, we'll often think of something like this, where we've got so much on our plate, so many different demands on us, and we just feel that revving of the nervous system, the adrenaline, the cortisol, all the stress hormones, and we feel tightness in the body. But ultimately, what is the cause of that? Now, obviously, there are many causes of stress, but something that I'd like to share with everyone that I think is a very simple and easy way of recognizing stress within us and looking at the root causes of it, is to look at this rubber band. The whole of stress can be explained with this rubber band. So the more we pull this rubber band, the more stressed this rubber band actually becomes. And at the top of the rubber band is the perception of the demands placed on us. Yeah. So the top of the rubber band is the perception of the demands. That's the top of the rubber band. And what would those demands be? They might be demands in terms of our patients, our managers, our family, administration that we all have to do in our lives. There can be so many different demands on us, and those can be physical demands, emotional demands, mental demands. So that's the perception of those. And at the bottom is the perception of our abilities to meet those demands. Okay? And notice we use the word perception. And so if we feel that we've just got too many demands on our time, our energy, our efforts, our abilities, then we stretch the rubber band at the top. And if we feel that we don't have the ability to actually be able to deliver on those demands, then the bottom of the rubber band gets stretched downwards. So we can see that it is our perception of our demands and the perception of our abilities, and the difference between those two equals stress. And so what are some of those, I suppose, abilities that we feel we don't have? Sometimes we feel we don't have enough time. So the scarce resource is, I don't have enough time to fulfill these demands on me. Or it might be energy. I don't have enough energy to fulfill these demands. Or it can be a perception of our own abilities, whether we have the right intelligence to pursue those demands, whether we have the right abilities in general, the right skill set. And once again, we stretch that downwards. So this is how we stretch this rubber band. Now, obviously, stress isn't all about perception. It is also about, objectively, how many things do we have to do, and is it reasonable or unreasonable? And so when we look at reducing the stress in our lives, we reduce it externally by obviously speaking to our managers, our team, informing them of how we feel, and seeing if there's anything physically that can be changed in our work environment or our working hours to help support us in our stress. At the same time, internally, there are things that we can do to reduce this stress, this inner stress, this rubber band. And have you noticed in the workplace, there's always people around us who seem to have the same workload as us, but for some reason, it's a difference in personality or whatever it may be, they just seem to don't get stressed by it. Now, what is that? That is something inherent within each of us, our personality traits, which mean that we stretch this rubber band more than is required. So as an example, if we are quite an achiever in our mindset, then we will often put excessive demands on ourselves and be a perfectionist about the things that we've got to face in life. And if we're someone that has low confidence or a low perception of our abilities, then we'll stretch the rubber band downwards and we'll feel in a constant state of stress because we don't have confidence in our abilities to fulfill that kind of work. So all of these things, whenever we feel stressed, it's worth closing our eyes and just becoming aware, where am I over-perceiving the demands placed on me and putting too much pressure on myself? And where am I undervaluing my ability to overcome these particular situations? Yeah. And often the people who handle the stress the best are those who say, well, I'm in a tricky time right now, but this will pass. I've been in this situation before in my life and I've handled it, and I'll be able to handle this too. Okay. So that's just a bit of introduction to one of the causes of stress, the difference in the perception of our demands and abilities. But how does that relate to stress, anxiety, depression, sick days? And we know, for instance, that within the NHS, often the absence rates, the sickness rates are very high because we are facing a lot of pressures in our day-to-day work. So what can we do about that and how can we handle that? Well, step one we've discovered now, that we tend to get stressed because of the difference in the perception of our abilities and the demands placed on us, which makes us feel overwhelmed and stimulates our stress system, our fight or flight response. But what people have noticed, and this was a very interesting study by the BBC and the University of Liverpool, was that the most important factor in anxiety and depression was not the life events, was not the stresses that people faced, but it was dwelling on negative thoughts and self-blame. So step one, we get stressed. Step two, if we dwell on those negative thoughts, those negative events of our lives, what happened yesterday? How often do we replay a little thought process in our minds? That is more likely to then trigger stress, anxiety, and depression. So we don't want to dwell on those negative thoughts. But we have so many negative thoughts that come up in our minds. And meditation is a way of training our minds to calm down. Which I think was a landmark study, but got very little. Was they took a group of people who were trained in essentially meditation and some other resiliency training, but also fundamentally it was regular meditation. And they found that out of 4,500 participants, They tracked those people for a year after they learnt meditation. So these weren't Buddhist monks. These were new people who just learned meditation. They had an average 43% reduction in their use of healthcare facilities. Now imagine that. Imagine if we had a magic pill that we gave to everyone in the population and it reduced healthcare visits by 43%. This is clinically proven data. It would be a miracle drug. We'll say, right, this is something we need to give to everyone in the population because it has no side effects or little or no negative effects and can benefit everyone and increase their health and well-being. It's a miracle drug. And yet here it is with us every day, and it just requires that 10 minutes of investment. So some of the benefits of meditation are it increases our immune system, the effectiveness of our immune system. It reduces depression and anxiety. And I can give you my personal experience that I certainly, so 10 years ago, 10 years ago, had an incredibly busy mind, incredibly anxious mind, and thought that nothing is ever going to be able to help me. But with regular meditation, I have now been able to feel very calm, very peaceful, and in balance for most of the time, which is a great feeling. It increases our levels of happiness, increases our levels of energy. Yeah. So there's so many mental, physical, and emotional benefits from it. And in fact, some recent studies have shown that heart attacks and strokes have been reduced by 66% in those who were regular meditators. So this is huge. This isn't just about something which we think, oh, that would be a nice thing to do, but it could be fundamental to our long-term health and well-being. And that's, really exciting. And so what is meditation? Well, first of all, I often find meditation has been incorrectly taught because most people think that meditation is controlling your thoughts, that you've got to try and have an empty mind and no thoughts, and it's lots of effort to do it. But of course, if you've spent your lifetime having a mind full of thoughts, it's not going to be like a light switch where you suddenly close your eyes, begin the process of meditation, and magically have an empty mind. What I find a lot of people do is they start meditating and they think, oh, it's not working. I don't have an empty mind. I've just got lots of thoughts. Okay, meditation isn't for me. But what we can recognize is that meditation, certainly when we're starting off, is not about thought control. It's not about having an empty mind, and it's not effortful. It should be effortless. Yeah? And so what actually is meditation? Meditation is the art of doing nothing. And you can say, well, actually, one of the hardest things to do is to do nothing. Yeah? Let's just experiment with that now. So if I just ask you to close your eyes. So let's just close our eyes. And let's just open our eyes. Right, what did you notice there? You probably had a random flow of thoughts and emotions in the mind. It might have been, well, why has he asked us to close our eyes? Is my microphone working now? What's going to happen next? So all these random thoughts come up in the mind. And the nature of our mind is to go into the past and the future. So we might be thinking, oh, yes, I forgot about that thing yesterday. Oh, yes, tomorrow I have to make sure that I pick up the groceries. So our mind jumps into the past and the future. And the nature of the mind is to default to worry. So if we're not doing anything, the mind naturally starts worrying about the things we haven't done or things that didn't go well in our lives. And so meditation is a training program to, instead of being our thoughts and involved in our thoughts and this cyclone of thoughts in our minds, we take a step back and we observe these thoughts. So these are these vibrating thoughts in our minds, and we continually take a step back and observe our thoughts. So we aren't actually identified with our thoughts, but we maintain the observer position. And what will happen is we meditate, we go to the observer position and notice our thoughts, and we perhaps have awareness on our breathing. Then we get embroiled in our thoughts again. We go off on our thoughts process. Then we recognize, I'm in meditation. That's okay. It's perfectly normal to get involved in our thoughts. Let me take a step back and observe that I got carried away with my thinking, and let me just become aware of my breathing. Oh, I've gone back into thoughts again. That's perfectly normal, perfectly fine. Let me take a step back and observe my thoughts. Okay? So that is our process of meditation. So let's just practice that now. So what I'd like you to do is please make sure that your phone is switched off, and please make sure that you're not going to be interrupted. And if you'd like to just sit comfortably, ideally you could sit cross-legged, but you don't have to. You can just sit on a chair and just have your palms facing upwards, your hands loosely in your lap with your palms faced upwards. Okay, perhaps with some back support so that you don't have to hold up your back too much, but if you're used to sitting upright without any back support, that's fine. So let's just close our eyes. And let's take a slow, deep breath in through the nose. And let's breathe out through the nose. And let's take another slow, deep breath in. And breathe out through the nose. And let's just become aware of our feet on the floor. So bring your awareness to your feet and notice any sensations in your feet. And as I mention each body part, you just imagine that the muscles are loosening and relaxing in that part of your body. So firstly, bringing our attention to our feet and our ankles. And let's bring our attention to our legs and our knees. And if the mind wanders and thinks about something else, perfectly fine. You just bring your attention back to that part of your body. So just becoming aware of your calves and your knees. And let's bring our attention to our thighs. And let's bring attention to our hips. And let's take a slow, deep breath in. With a smile, let's breathe out slowly through the nose, as slowly as possible through the nose. And let's bring our attention to our stomach and our navel. And let's bring our attention to our chest and feel grateful to our lungs and our chest for breathing, rising and falling, and giving us the gift of oxygen. Just observing our breathing, the rise and fall of our chest. And our shoulders and arms now. loosening up our shoulders and our arms, consciously loosening our body. Become aware of your neck. Become aware of the tension in your face. And just wiggle the muscles of your face to loosen your face. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And breathe out slowly through the nose, just relaxing your face muscles and your whole body. And let's just feel our whole body. Take another slow, deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we can breathe out through the mouth with a ha sound and loosen the whole body. So your body feels loose and relaxed, like a rag doll. Completely letting go of your body. Letting the chair take the weight of your body. Let's do that once again. Take a deep breath in with a smile. And breathe out with a ha. Loosen your whole body. Become aware of the thoughts in your mind. Notice the thoughts in your mind. What are you thinking about? The thoughts are like clouds coming in and out of the blue sky. And we remain the witness. We are the whole blue sky, observing the clouds coming in and out of the sky. And as you notice the thoughts, you can label the thoughts. Oh, there's a thought about work. Oh, there's a thought about my family. Oh, there's a thought about the future. So you can just label, when you notice each thought, just label it with one word about what it is about. Just observing your thoughts. Like a curious observer, keeping your eyes closed, just observing your thoughts and labeling them like a curious observer with no judgment. And as you observe your thoughts, we can recognize that we are that calm, peaceful observer of our thoughts. Take a slow, deep breath in with a smile. And breathe out slowly through the nose in a controlled way. And each time your mind gets distracted or thinks about another thought, we can just bring our mind back to observing our breathing. So just breathing slowly and deeply, but not forcing it. Just maintain your awareness like a curious observer, noticing the rise and fall of your chest and your breathing. And when you get distracted, gently and compassionately bring your mind back to your breathing. Each time you breathe out, just feeling more and more relaxed. And let's take another slow, deep breath in with a smile. And breathe out, loosening our whole body. And another deep breath in. And breathe out. And slowly and gently, when you feel ready, you can just gently open your eyes. Welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed that short meditation. And of course, just like learning a new exercise regime. When you first go to the gym, it's not that you're going to be able to exercise 100% straight away. So it takes time to build up and practice meditation until it becomes second nature and the benefits are profound. And to help you with that, I have a free app which is available on the App Store and Play Store called the Meaning of Life Experiment. Okay, so you must type in Meaning of Life Experiment on App Store and Play Store. And on there are 30 10-minute meditations and 30 20-minute meditations. And this project of mine is a social enterprise, so all of the meditations and videos are free. And it is an easy way of practicing meditation, because when we first start, it's nice to have someone narrate us through it. And because there's 30, well, there's actually 60 meditations, there's lots of variety as well. So I really encourage you to download that meditation app, have it ready on your phone, and perhaps meditate for 10 minutes in the morning, ideally on an empty stomach, so ideally before breakfast, and perhaps in the evening after work, before dinner. And often meditation or relaxation gets pushed to the back of the queue. It's the last thing that we want to do. But I would encourage you to, in fact, prioritize it, because when you just spend that 10 minutes meditating a day, it makes the whole of the rest of the day even better. You know, ideally a 20-minute one. It's like a shower for the mind. You know, would you wake up each day and not brush your teeth or not have a shower? No, because you want to clean your outer body. But every day, our inner mind needs that cleansing. And that's where breathing and meditation are incredibly important. So I hope that we can at least hope to commit to 10 minutes a day, perhaps twice a day, ideally a 20-minute meditation, which is in the app. And if we just make that investment, to satisfy our intellect, we know that it can reduce or halve our usage of medical facilities. So we become less ill. We have less ailments, which is amazing. And secondly, it can bring us peace of mind and happiness and well-being, reduce our stress and anxiety, and increase our resilience. So once we meditate regularly, we're better able to handle the ups and downs of life. And life just becomes easier and happier. So once again, I encourage you to download that app. And of course, if you want to get in contact with me, here are my contact details, my email, and the website is themeaningoflife.tv. So if for whatever reason you don't have a smartphone and you want to stream the video and visual meditations from the website, then there is also this website as well. So I think we'll now open up to questions that people may have about meditation or anything that they've heard today. So over to Rosanna. Do you want to take questions, or shall I just see what's in the chat window?
Yeah, let's keep an eye on the chat window for a couple of minutes, Ashok. And hopefully everyone can see on the top right-hand corner of their screen, you can see the chat function. Just click on that to type something in. I hope that everybody kind of who's been able to attend that full half hour with feels the benefit of that later on in the day. You know, for a lot of us, it's a very busy day because it's NHS Change Day, and there's a lot going on to improve, to just start small actions for change in the NHS. So another way in which you can improve staff wellbeing is maybe to share the recording of this half-hour experience of meditation. I did have a question for you myself, actually, Ashok, because I think it's quite sort of countercultural in the NHS, where we have, and in many organisations, and in fact the workplace itself, where that we have a sort of culture of needing to be busy. In fact, I was in A&E with a friend the other day, and I saw some nurses sitting down, and I thought, why are they sitting down? They should be busy, you know. So I think we're all guilty of it, but actually we need to see people looking busy at work. And I wondered whether there are any techniques that you know, or any organisations that you know of, who have managed to integrate this art of doing nothing into a busy working day.
Yeah, so there's two aspects to this. Meditation is about physically sitting down each day and calming down the nervous system. During the day, we want to practice mindfulness and what I call mindful activity. So the mind is often obsessed with doing things quickly. Because we want to achieve things and get things done, we think that if we move fast, think fast, talk fast, we'll get more things done. And actually, how many times have we experienced it that when we slow down and do things in a calm way, we actually get more things done? And the reason for that is when we do things slowly and calmly, we don't make mistakes. We make strategic decisions which give us a good workflow, and we just get things right first time. It's a bit like when you type on your computer. If you type too fast, you make lots of mistakes, and you have to keep using the delete button or the back button to delete mistakes. So in the same way, each day we can recognize that, oh, actually I'm rushing. And when we rush, we stimulate our nervous system. And what I encourage my clients to practice is what I call mindful activity, where we breathe slower as we work, we move slower, so we do everything 30% slower. It's a slow motion technique. But when we move around slower and do things slower and methodically, we actually get more things done. So if we're working in a culture where everything's got to be busy, everything's got to be fast, we can't be seen to be doing nothing, then we can change that by all of us presenting a calmer demeanor. And we know, for instance, that patients respond well when they're looked after by someone who is calm, who's caring, who's compassionate, who's got time for them. And that can make such a positive impact on our patients' lives that why would we not want to make that part of therapeutic package, really?
Thank you for that. I'm thinking of that quote, if you want something done, ask a busy person. And I'm thinking of extending that to, you know, if you want something done well, then ask a meditation practitioner.
That would be a great idea, yes.
I think there's another question that's come up from Eddie on the chat. He says, working in the NHS, sorry, Eddie, that may be a lady. Working in the NHS, do you have any advice on how to increase the uptake of meditation for our staff?
You know, this is what I'm really working on, and Rosanna has obviously been helping me with this as well. We want to make meditation such a natural part of our day. And, you know, 10, 20 years ago, yoga was something which was seen as very alternative, but it became very mainstream. And in the same way, meditation should be something now which is very mainstream. And ideas that we've been playing around with is actually, you know, letting more people know about the Meaning of Life Experiment app, because obviously it's free, so there's no profit motive within that. Also, potentially creating an NHS branded meditation app that we can roll out to everyone and encourage that take up. So there are two things. I think first of all, giving people the facilities, so encouraging people to have it on their phone so it's there. And secondly, within our teams and groups, actually seeing if there's a way that we can put a 10-minute meditation somewhere in the day. So let's say we've got a meeting together in our groups or our teams. Can we start that meeting with a 10-minute meditation? And some people will say, oh, but that's a waste of the time. But most people find when you start a meeting with a 10-minute meditation, everyone feels so positive, so uplifted. The meeting is actually much quicker because we get through the content quicker. And so can we incorporate meditation, just a 10-minute meditation, into our teams and give people space and time to do that? If not during the working day, at least if we give them the app, then they have time at home to do it. Yes.
Great, thank you very much. If anybody else has any questions, do just pop in. Oh, sorry, Eddie, you just replied to say, really good idea about starting the meeting with a meditation. We've considered also doing this within my team. A couple of people have suggested it. You know, to me, it still feels quite countercultural, but I think that's all something that I've got to get over. I also think that this argument, though, of, you know, that people who have a calmer demeanour are better for patients, a really compelling argument, really. And I wonder whether that's something that can be, you know, well, I'll certainly tweet it. That's one way to broadcast that message.
Yes, and I think, you know, for us to really get this information out there, we have to satisfy people's head and heart. So we satisfy the head by giving people statistics about, you know, halving your usage of medical facilities. I mean, for me, that would be, I would do anything. I would take anything to do that. If it was a magic pill or meditation, halving my usage of seeing the doctor or going to a hospital is a miracle. That satisfies people's heads, and then satisfying people's hearts is, practice it and you'll feel more calm, more relaxed, more peaceful, you'll feel happier, and that's all clinically proven as well. That's the way to satisfy the head and the heart, really.
Great, yeah. Fantastic. Well, thanks again, Ashok, for spending some time with us this morning. Very much appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a really good day. You've got Ashok's email address there if you would like to get in touch, but also please do get in touch with myself if you would like more information. And my Twitter handle is @RosieL Hunt, ROSIEL Hunt. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you, everyone, and it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok. Bye-bye.
Bye.